today's cup of coffee, we're going to be discussing different gift giving ideas for the holidays. And it does not have to be that elaborate. You do not have to fall into the commercialism trap. I think a lot of us are in the same boat as far as finances and stuff. I've been in that boat for years. And it makes you be creative, and that's okay. And it's like, I understand those of you who have small children and stuff like that, God love you. Because those kids and the advertising and they think they gotta have and you fall into the guilt trap. Don't do that. So that's the first thing. Minimize the amount of ads that those kids are consuming. They don't have to have the latest. You don't have to buy the latest, the most expensive, the whatever. That does not make you a bad parent, nor will it make them a better kid or better human being if they have these things. One of the best things that you can give a child is something that they can learn to be creative with. This is something that you've got all these toys that they walk and they talk and they speak, and they absolutely dumb down these children. Don't do it. Give them things that they can explore and build with. Blocks, those are wonderful. Let them design and develop different things. Something that is tangible. They used to call them manipulatives in school, because that tactile sense, especially in small children, that's something that needs to be utilized. And I don't think that it's being utilized in public schools properly. They need that, And so crayons, paints, make sure that you have them a proper environment where they can use these things, and paper. Because you want to give the child something that they can enjoy. And art is something that, yes, have always been a huge fan of that, because children, especially if they're small, they don't have the vocabulary yet of adults. But for them to figure out, as far as colors, what their hands can do, what they can, to put on paper, what they see, and to explore it. And yes, praise them. I don't care if it looks like a chicken walked across the paper. Praise them, because they did that. And that is something that when you build up that child's self-esteem, especially in a world that's trying to knock that child's self-worth down, you got to counter that, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever's. And that goes for older kids also. Journals can be very valuable. To have a young person be able to write down. I know everybody uses computers, and everybody's like, "Orlando, honey, you like, still back in the 80s and 90s. Yes, I believe in the written word. I mean, truly the written word. And where it is difficult for some of these kids to physically write, because their fine motor skills are not geared towards actual writing these days. Give that to them and let them carry that with them so that they can write down thoughts. All of us need those things. And it's just like oldest kid who's 30. He's like, "Oh, well, you need to make notes on your computer." And I'm like, "What if the electricity goes out?" He just looked at me funny. Because I have index cards. I have notes everywhere, because I have ADHD. And I learned to make notes to myself years and years ago. But you can get some of the little journals and stuff. Even the dollar stores carry those. It does not have to be leather bound. And to get them some, different colored pencils or pens or whatever like that, and to encourage them. Give the gift of, as far as gift certificates, not necessarily to stores. You can give somebody a little voucher that's, we'll wash dishes for a week, or do laundry, or any of these things like that if you're short on cash. gift of time, to give them a little voucher that they can come to you and say, oh, it says that you will, read to me for 30 minutes. Be creative, even with adults, because adults have a tendency to lose that childlike quality. And I know one year that I made gift bags for our family. And now some of these things, some people are going to appreciate it and some people ain't. So just, it is in the act of giving. The recipient, that's on them. But it was a gift of creativity. Everybody got a little container of Play-Doh. Play-Doh is great. You can get those at the dollar stores, and it's usually like 3 containers. It's not even the dollar store anymore. It's the dollar and up store. But you can do that. And I had, I think I had like one of the little bouncy balls. Just fun stuff. When was the last time as an adult that you had like a little bouncy ball? For those of you all who are old enough to remember when Jack Rocks were a thing, those were great. And just small toys like that. I think I had maybe some, like when you blow bubbles, like a container of that, which is remarkably soothing. And to give the adults these types of things to help them remember. Something else that was great, I don't know if I still use CDs. I don't know that other people do. One of my favorite gifts that I ever received was when I was working down at the jail, and our lieutenant, he knew the musical styles of those of us that were, on his crew. And he burned us a CD. And it was excellent. And of course, mine kicked ass. So I still have that CD. I still listen to it occasionally. I'm still grateful for it because that took his, that was his time that he went and he researched and he got the music and he burned the disc himself. So in today's world where everything is digital, I don't know, maybe send links for things. And even as far as if somebody has different interests, go through on some of the different platforms, maybe on Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey or something like that. Find creators that these people might enjoy and just make a list and have these as suggestions for them with the links or something to sit there and go, hey, you might enjoy this. To sit and give somebody a memory, to sit there and go, remember when. It's sort of like memes, only memes that you can put in a, card or something. Do you remember when we went to the beach that year and we laughed about this? Do you remember when so-and-so fell down and skinned his knee? Those are amazing gifts. Those are worth more than money. If you like to create things, you can do like rag dolls. There are so many of you all that are talented, remarkably talented out there. There's just, with a little bit of effort and time, if you have that, to create something that is personalized and individual, those things become heirlooms. Some of this stuff that is mass-produced, who's going to remember it? But if somebody sat there and they love in every stitch, yeah, that's worth handing down for the generations to come. If you like to cook or bake or do anything like that, it's always wonderful to just, it's amazing what you can chocolate dip and put in a baggie. Be careful with the chocolate because there's some talent with that. But you can get things like those orange slices, the little candied orange slices. You can chocolate dip those as a whole, or you can cut them in pieces and chocolate dip them. You can get maraschino cherries and you can dry those. You have to let them drain till they're dry. You can chocolate dip them. There's wonderful channels where people, they get very elaborate with some of the home-baked cookies. And yeah, those are great. You can do things like, like the little airplane bottles of spirits, of liquor and stuff. I used to enjoy doing that, as far as to get some kind of a drinkware and put the peppermint schnapps and then a couple of candy canes on the side and put a ribbon on the stem and give that as a gift. You could also do a very inexpensive coffee cup and get a little shot of rum. Yeah, and you can send that with my love to whomever is the recipient of that. All kinds of wonderful, creative things that you can do, because the memories are worth more than whatever else. And I learned that the hard way many, many years ago. Don't care anything about diamonds. Never did. I mean, what are you going to do? Go out here and flash that around and make yourself a target to be robbed? I don't think so. As far as these ridiculously priced designer clothes, which is usually made in some kind of slave labor, whatever, I don't think so either. No, I think that some of that stuff has got some really bad vibes attached to it. But if you can go to like a Goodwill or some kind of thrift shop, get a pair of jeans, sort of modify them a little bit, put some patches, you can draw on them, do different things like that, personalize them for yourself, or you can do that as gifts. Yeah, it's vintage clothing. If somebody asks, it's like, hey, I got you a vintage something from the 90s. And then explain to them who Nirvana was, if you have to. God, I hope you don't have a child that you have to explain who Nirvana is. Fun stuff. Write stories. Write poems. The greatest gift is a gift of yourself. So don't let this season bum you out in any way. You can do this. You can get through this. I believe in this. And you can. There's all kinds of creative people. And that is one of the things that I will say about the TikTok, because our youngest kid stays on that thing. He actually subscribes to some people that are very creative. So you can get lots of ideas. If you would like to share your ideas with us, that would be very appreciated. Yeah. So we're all going to make it through this season. We all going to make it through this season, one way or the other. And it's like, in a world where everybody is offended and all that stuff, if somebody's going to be an ass, you don't have to approach them. If they get upset because that somebody gives you you give them a candy cane or a chocolate kiss or something like that, for the next year to avoid that person. Pray for them. Give them their distance, because you don't need that in your life. If you've had experiences with paranormal or supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, you can send me an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. Yeah, I'm behind on emails again. Sorry about that. I will catch up eventually. And yeah, share these ideas and share them on the different platforms. You can encourage other people to come and join our little pirate crew. And we will be jolly one way or the other. Like, share, comment, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And the main thing, know that you are loved each and every day. Just when you wake up and you know that you have purpose and you're loved, it can make your day totally different. Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup. Bye.